Okay, with those peppers in the broiler, we're going to move on to the next step. We're going to use some of that same heat that's coming off the broiler into the oven to roast the eggplant. So we're going to put them in a baking sheet here, a jelly roll pan, and roast those. So first step, we'll cut this up into long slices. Okay, now to salt these, I'm going to use a Himalayan salt block. Do a little gizmo, or I can just lay the eggplant skin side down on here, and meanwhile I can hit the other side with ground Himalayan salt. And what this will do is the salt from above and the salt from below will draw each other together and bring salt through right through that eggplant, so it'll salt it directly through. You can also accomplish this by parboiling the eggplant in salt water for a few minutes before doing this, before roasting. Okay. I like this method. It uses less energy. So let those sit for a few minutes. Maybe flip them over. You can also apply an herb at this point if you wanted to, like sumac or ground pepper or chili or something. Actually, I might do that. I might add a little bit of chili just to liven it up. So I have some Rancho Gordo chili powder. It's not terribly fresh, so I don't have to worry about it spicing things up too much, but I'll just add a pinch just to give it a little extra zing. Just a little chili powder. And this this salt board, again, the salt block will draw the chili powder right through the eggplant. Okay, while we're waiting for the eggplant to salt up there, I'm going to give them a few minutes. I'm going to work on the next part. I'm envisioning this dish where I have some leftover pasta. I'm going to mix with fava beans and shallots and some kind of fat, some bacon or prosciutto or something. Fava beans, they're wonderful, but they're kind of a pain in the ass. So you have to do a lot of things to them before you can use them. First, you have to remove them from their outer shell like this. Then you take these guys and you blanch them in boiling water. Then you drop them in an ice bath. Then you give them a manicure. I'm just kidding, you don't give them a manicure. You peel off this outer skin, which should come off easily, but it's still kind of tedious. Okay, and then the inner part, which is dark green, is what you can actually use. And so this effort that you have to go through to take care of a fava bean to prepare for use is a lot, but it's worth it because they're absolutely delicious. So we'll go through the process and fast forward so you don't have to suffer through it, but you get the idea. It's take out the outer part, blanch, ice water, take out the inner part, ready to use. Okay, I've got my fava beans all shucked here, so we just have the inner pods, we have the outer pods. There's like 3 layers of pods. There's this one, the one outside and the one inside, and the one inside is what we're looking for. So a couple more steps to get there. Add some water boiling, and I'll salt that water. Add some salt. Here's these beans. We'll hit them again later. More salt too. This is only going to really penetrate the outer skin, so hopefully make it a little easier to peel off. Okay, meanwhile let's tend to these eggplant. I'm going to put a touch of olive oil in this jelly roll pan. And then we'll put these eggplant in here. Put them in like so. Skin side down for the ones that have skin. And we will coat them with olive oil. So they've been salted through and through by the salt block. And I put a little bit of chili on them to give them a little bit of zing. And I'm going to go, yeah, like I said, skin side down. And these are going to go into the oven, which I want to run about 400. It might be a little hotter right now because we have it on broil. And that is okay if we hit them at 450 or 475 or 500. It's no big deal. But we're going to turn it down in a minute as soon as those peppers come out of the broiler. So let's not forget about the peppers, right? Okay, so eggplant are going in. My next step is going to be to prepare a quick water bath for the fava beans. When they come out, we just need some ice water. Okay, so I'm out of ice because of all the drinking we've been doing. So I just put a nice piece of frozen Marin Sun Farms ground lamb in a bowl of water. That'll cool the water down. And this was in the freezer a minute ago. So I'll put that here. That water's ready to get nice and cold. So when the fava beans come out of the blanching, we're going to dump them in there for a few minutes, and then we'll start to pick apart to get out the inside part. That is the good part that we want to eat. And in the meantime, let's get together the rest of this pasta dish, which is going to consist of some onions and some kind of fat that I have to figure out, some kind of protein. Okay, fava beans are going into the blanched water, the boiling water. Just going to hit them for like 20 or 30 seconds, and then they're going to come out of the strainer and right into the ice water bath here. Okay, these are done. Okay, strain these fava beans into the cold water bath. There you go. And then from here, we'll go through the next process of deconstruction. We'll take these guys and open them up and peel out the inner part. You can see when I peel out the outer white part, there's this bright green part on the inside. And that's the part we want to eat. So, last step is to peel off this outer part, and you'll see like a split bean in there. There's two sides to it. And it's fine if they stay together or come apart, it doesn't matter. But that's your fava bean. And at this point, it's pretty well cooked. We're going to cook it a little more inside of our dish as we cook into our pasta dish. Okay. So now repeat for the other bazillion of these. This will also be a good time to check on those peppers, so I'm going to go take a look. Those guys are good and black. And they may look burned, but that's exactly what we're going for now. So we're going to take these and put them into a paper bag and let them steam a little bit so the skin begins to separate from the inside. And then what we'll have on those peppers, even though they look burned right now, on the inside there we're going to have delicious roasted pepper. All right. Okay, we'll let these steam in a paper bag for a good 10 minutes. Also cool off for a bit, which will be nice because that makes them easier to peel skin without hurting yourself. Okay, more margarita, of course. And then let's move on with our fava bean deconstruction here. Okay, so after all that, I'm left with just the delicious inner dark green part of the fava bean. That's what we're going to use in our next dish that we're going to make with the pasta. So, move on to the next step. Move on to our next batch of olive oil, which seriously looks like olive cologne. It's the strangest thing. Doesn't smell like cologne, that's good. So we'll prepare a nice dice for this shallot. Okay, the shallots are going into the hot olive oil. Give these a quick stir. I want to get these to brown up. And I'm breaking them up into smaller bits too. With that high heat, that hot olive oil, these are browning up really nicely, very quickly. So earlier I mentioned the idea of some pancetta or bacon or ham or some other kind of fatty meat to put in this dish, but I have none of those things right now on hand, so I'm just going to go with olive oil as my main fat. And I thought I'd add these cheese curds from Spring Hill. Alright, so we have the onions going. I'm going to dump in the fava beans. Usual Italian blend of spices. We'll have some salt, fresh ground pepper, some crushed red pepper, and some oregano. This will be a nice call out to the other dish. Because it also has oregano in it. Okay, I'm going to lower the heat now and dump in the pasta. This is al dente, so it won't hurt to cook it a little more. And then we'll add some more olive oil. Since that's our main fat, I'm going to be kind of generous with that. And we'll taste that to see if it's enough. Let's give this a try. What it looks like up close. Get your beautiful bright green fava beans and those brown shallots. That's delicious. The olive oil has a nice nutty flavor to it. So we could stop there. But, you know, COVID-19, we'll go to the top. Add these cheese curds. And we won't be too crazy, I'll only add half of them. Okay, there you go. So, kind of made that up as we went along there. It's going to be a nice elbow pasta with fava bean and beautiful crispy brown shallots and some cheese curds. So we'll serve that alongside our Eggplant Parmesan sandwiches that are still in progress. So we have 23 minutes on the sauce, and then in the meantime I can prepare the bread for the sandwiches. Okay, so with about 19-20 minutes left on the Instapot, I'm going to check on the eggplant. See what those guys are doing. That looks done. Yeah, those guys look great. They need to be flipped. But you can flip them once if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and set this back to, well, actually I'm going to turn this off. We'll turn on the broiler again in a moment. We have a few more minutes on the sauce before we want to get that going. So we'll set the eggplant aside. Next, let's tackle those roasted peppers. So what we want to do here is remove what's left of the stem and the skin. And it should just peel right off, especially the extra crispy part. Now if you crisp them too much, like I did in some sections, it actually burns away the skin of the pepper, so that's a little bit overdone. But the perfect pepper you're looking for is right about there, where you see the color kind of ombre there between red, orange, and brown. And that's the kind of roasting we're looking for. As it gets toward this darker black part, we've done a little too much. But it's okay, there's still plenty of pepper left. Oh, this one's much better. So yeah, pretty much all the pepper's intact here. This is great. Okay, I don't want to cook this pasta anymore for fear that it might get a little too overdone, so I'm going to go ahead and kill the sauce. Even though it has 13 minutes left to go. Do an instant pressure release. Open the window here to let that steam out. At this point, I'm putting the oven back on broil. So while I'm waiting for the sauce to fully depressurize there, it's just finished, and I just quickly prepare the bread. I'm going to make some nice slices. This is day-old tartine country loaf and millennial creation. It holds up really well, so I don't even think I'm going to toast it. I'm just going to go ahead and put the eggplant. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. I'll probably put those on maybe 3 pieces of bread. I'm going to lay those out and then pop them in the broiler. And I'll put these in a pan like this so it doesn't leave a lot of space. That way I'm going to cover this with sauce. It's all going to kind of collect in the pan like so. Let's turn that one. There we go. This fit in perfectly. Okay. So I'm going to top each one of these slices of bread with eggplant. Ooh, it's just falling apart. Beautiful. Let's do that. And we'll do skin side down for the ones that have skin. And this last one I think I'll parcel up and split between the two here. Okay, next step, we'll pop the lid off this sauce, which is fully depressurized now. There's still some solid chunks of cherry tomato in there, which I think is fine. I'm going to try to maybe take a more a more solid chunk of the sauce, less watery. I'll save the watery stuff for another dish, like a pizza or something. I'm going to use a slotted spoon. I don't have a slotted spoon. I'm just going to use a slotted spatula here. I'm going to get some solids. I want to get the onion and tomato solids here. Get those on, and later we can top with more of the liquid sauce. There we go. Now I'll hit it with more of a liquidy dosing of the sauce here. I don't want to really drown the bread, but I just want to get it to saturate it a little bit. Get the bottom of the pan a bit. That should be about right. You're going to have to feel it out a little bit. Okay, now we're going to add this nice Stefano mozzarella cheese. This is whole milk mozzarella, which is a wonderful cheese. There we go. Slice that up. Layer it atop our eggplant Parmesan open-faced sandwiches here. Just a touch more. No, that's probably enough. A little bit more. There we go. And finally we'll add some roasted red pepper slices. Okay, then a little dash of oregano. And that is ready for the broiler. There you go. We'll give that 3 or 4 minutes, and because we really don't want to forget about it and ruin our whole dinner, I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes to check on it. So there's one last thing I want to do, this pasta while it's still warm. I have part of an egg here left over from another project the other day. Well, that's the timer for the eggplant Parmesan sandwiches. Alexa, stop the timer. We'll just throw this egg in here, it's kind of scrambled up. It's kind of, and the style of a carbonara, this egg will just add a little more richness to the sauce because the olive oil alone and the cheese provide a nice amount of fat. But this will just richen it up a little bit. And the egg will cook a bit in the warm pasta here. Okay, that's looking like it's done. Alright, I just put these guys out of the broiler. That is what they look like. There's 3 sandwiches in there, open faced. I'm going to separate them here. Plate that. There you go. Okay, there you go. Eggplant Parmesan sandwich, open faced with a fava bean and shallot cheese curd pasta dish on the side. Buon pranzo.